Hey folks, Cole Nicholas with Cybertech Systems here. Um, Verizon just came out with their data breach investigations report, and it had some really interesting insights that I thought would be worth bringing up. And then, how do we combat it? So, the first thing to note is that the Verizon data breach investigations report looks over the last 12 months and tries to provide some insights or some takeaways with what it saw in terms of cybersecurity instances and cyber attacks over the last 12 months, and tries to create some good data around it, some takeaways or some learning opportunities that both small business, medium business, and large enterprise can do to kind of help protect themselves. So a couple of takeaways that I think are really worth looking at. 14% of breaches involve the exploitation of a vulnerability, meaning that the start of the cyber incident or the inception of the cyber incident was caused by an inherent vulnerability in the product itself, like the firewall or something else that was exposed to the internet. Only 14%. 14 out of 100 of these were only caused by the actual hardware themselves. 68% of all breaches involved a human element, falling victim to a social engineering attack. That is an overwhelming majority of these involve someone that got tricked or duped into exposing or providing access. 62% of these breaches were financially motivated and involved either ransomware or extortion, and had a median loss of $46,000 per breach. Now, I don't know if they break that out in terms of, okay, we had to go buy some type of product for the individuals that were affected by the breach, or if this also includes a loss of revenue. I'm not sure. But still, 46,000 is nothing to sniff at. The other thing of interest or of note is that only 15% of breaches in 2024 involved a third-party supplier. I believe that's coming down, but overall, that's some pretty interesting data. So the question we need to ask ourselves is, what do we do about it? Okay, so this gets me into my topic of discussion for today, which is the Center for Internet Security, and then their top 18 controls that they have created and provided for small and medium-sized businesses, actually all businesses, as a set of security practices, best practices that every business should perform or conduct themselves in, right? And so what are these top 18 security controls? So I'm going to flip over to the next page here. These CIS critical security controls, just every time you see control, think best practice. That's all it is. And one of the things that I think is really worth looking at is by following these controls, you're not just improving your cybersecurity, you're also following compliance standards that overlap with industry regulations. So things like PCI or HIPAA or NIST, these are regulatory security frameworks that are required in certain sectors, like the healthcare industry, like the credit card industry. If you're a governmental entity, you're going to need to follow either NIST or CISA, depending. What's great is that the CIS controls overlap with those. So they don't fight with each other. They're basically saying the exact same thing. And in fact, they have a really cool mapping where control number 1 on CIS maps to control number 4 in CISA or something along those lines, right? So anyway, it's really, really nice framework. It's a roadmap for you, a blueprint, if you will, to be able to say, okay, I own a business and we're going to conduct ourselves in the following manner to better our security posture. One of my favorite ways to describe the CIS controls is they're just like a seatbelt in a car. A seatbelt won't guarantee your safety in the event of a car crash, right? We know that. But we all know that it will drastically improve our chances of a better outcome if we are wearing the seatbelt and a car crash does happen. And sometimes we have people that want to argue this. If your kids take the car to somewhere, if they drive the car somewhere away, what's one of the things that you almost always say to them? Drive safe, wear your seatbelt. If it's true for those kids, it's true for us. The same thing is analogous with cybersecurity best practices. So if it's best practice to wear your seatbelt, similarly, it is also best practice to employ these security practices in your business, and they will drastically improve your chances of a successful outcome in the event of a cyber attack. Okay, so enough talk. Let's actually dig into it. Control of enterprise assets. Okay, so that sounds really complicated. Let's right-click that. We'll open that up. Here's the overview. So we want to actively manage all enterprise assets that are connected to the infrastructure physically. Let's try and decomplicate that here. So basically, do we know what's exactly connected to the network? Because if we don't know what is connected, how can we protect it? Simple, right? So basically, we need to find or employ tool sets or tools or software or whatever else that enables us to figure out exactly what's connected to the network, when it connects, for how long it connects, the whole 9 yards. In the industry, we usually call that network monitoring. Let's do another one here. Maybe control number 3. This one's a pretty easy one. Data protection. So develop processes and technical controls to identify, classify, securely handle, retain, and dispose of data. What data do you own or employ that's incredibly important, right? And then what data is just like, if it gets deleted, no big deal. So it's really important to know what data is vitally important and that you must protect, and what data is just like, if it gets lost, who cares, right? Think about your downloads folder on your computer. Not vital. We can let that go. But if you have customer data that includes first name, last name, social security number, credit card info, whatever else, vitally important that you protect that data, okay? Or the data that's required for your business to run. If your server crashes and we can't rebuild your server for 3, 4, 5 days, your gross revenue takes an impact. That server, all the data, the operating system, everything involved is critically important to making sure that you can conduct cash flow in your business. I'll do one more here. This one probably ties back to our Verizon training, or the Verizon report that just came out. The CIS Control 14, Security Awareness and Skills Training. Let's click on that one. Okay, establish and maintain a security awareness program to influence behavior among the workforce to be security conscious and properly skilled to reduce cybersecurity risks to the enterprise. Again, if we come back to the 2024 Data Breach Investigations Report, 68% of all breaches involved a non-malicious human element. Non-malicious meaning we didn't have an ex-employee take all the passwords or change all the passwords or take the whole password sheet and hand it to somebody else so that the business could be impacted negatively, right? These are well-meaning employees that do not have the necessary skills or contextual awareness to be safe in 2024 and the security that comes with it, right? Or lack thereof, right? Ultimately, the CIS controls are an actionable framework, a blueprint, a roadmap for you to start securing your organization today, regardless of size. The next step is finding and employing the tools necessary to perform these actions. Now at CyberTech, we build our managed IT service around these CIS controls. We believe a good technology partner should be able to, one, tell you where your organization is most vulnerable, and two, proactively work to build solutions that shore up those areas of weakness. If you're interested in learning more, subscribe to this channel, and we will walk through the CIS security controls together in more detail in coming videos. If you need a security conscious, proactive technology partner, visit our website and you'll find our contact info. We'd love to work with you. Thank you and have a great day.